understand this, but tonight is Sunday night, you know this. And that's why we can't.
Born to Letha James Heard in 1947 in the Watts area of Los Angeles, Sylvester was born after his father left. He was the oldest of 5 children. But his mother would soon remarry. His Pentecostal roots would shape him, but it would also be the loss of his innocence. According to his sister Bernadette, he was violated by a church evangelist at age 7 until age 11, and in 1988 Sylvester went on record to give an account. No excuse to the offender. But Sylvester had a valuable part of him taken away at such a young, vulnerable age. His gender nonconformity led to tension at home. Eventually, after ongoing conflict, he left home as a teenager, around age 15, and began living on his own, which started his journey towards self-discovery and independence in the streets of San Francisco, living freely, embracing the hippie lifestyle. Sylvester and the Hot Band was formed in 1973 and featured a mix of rock, funk, and soul elements. They released their self-titled debut album, Sylvester and the Hot Band, in 1973, followed by a second album, Bizarre, in 1974. These early works helped establish Sylvester's career before he transitioned into the disco scene later in the 1970s. Sylvester began gathering background singers. Those who were chosen were Jeannie Tracy, Martha Wash, Izora Rhodes, known as 2 Tons of Fun, and then later known as the Weather Girls. This collaboration would help to skyrocket Sylvester all the way to the top of the charts and dance floors all over the country. '78 Step 2 was released, went gold, then to number 1. Sylvester was limitless. You hadn't seen a man such as Sylvester achieve such a thing. Not an openly gay black man. Sylvester began touring London and Europe to sold-out shows with acts as Chaka Khan and the Commodores. Even Marvin Gaye was a fan, according to Janice Gaye. With friends in high places and a hefty shopping habit, Sylvester was on top of the world. Sylvester was riding high on the success of Dance Disco Heat and Mighty Real, and it seemed as if the disco train could never slow down. Then in 1979 it was his live double album Living Proof, recorded at War Memorial Opera House, which awarded him a key to the city of San Francisco, deemed Sylvester Day.
To see my son there and performing on stage was very important. It made me feel very happy. People accepted him as Sylvester.
Noticeably missing was Sylvester's friend and politician Harvey Milk, who was executed just 4 months earlier by Dan White.
This was the other victim today, the man in the suit, Harvey Milk, the most unorthodox politician.
Supervisor Harvey Milk have been shot and killed.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
As the 70s came to a close, a new movement began to completely wipe disco off of the airwaves for good.
The largest crowd of the season showed up at Chicago's Comiskey Park for the twilight doubleheader between the White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. 15,000 others had to be turned away. Many had come for Disco Demolition Night, a promotional gimmick. Between games, as planned, a huge box containing thousands of disco records was blown up. The rest was unplanned. Fans stormed out onto the field in the thousands. Disco records were hurled like frisbees. Bonfires were set. Bottles were thrown. The batting cage was torn down and destroyed. Fistfights broke out. White Sox players had to be locked in their clubhouse for their own protection. The largest crowd of the season showed up at Chicago's Comiskey Park for the twilight doubleheader between the White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. 15,000 others had to be turned away. Many had come for Disco Demolition Night, a promotional gimmick. Between games, as planned, a huge box containing thousands of disco records was blown up. The rest was unplanned. Fans stormed out onto the field in the thousands. Disco records were hurled like frisbees. Bonfires were set. Bottles were thrown. The batting cage was torn down and destroyed. Fistfights broke out. White Sox players had to be locked in their clubhouse for their own protection. The melee lasted...
Oh, I wouldn't say that. People are still out every night, lines and people still dancing, so I don't think it's dead at all. It's just changing.
It was the end of an era, and though Sylvester was in denial, he'd have to reinvent himself in the turn of the century. By the start of 1980s, Sylvester ditched the disco and signed with a new label. He teamed up with Motown music veteran Harvey Fuqua, who was also Marvin Gaye's producer, but the album didn't sell. It still is regarded as one of the best hidden gems to present day. But just as his fire seemed to dim, but a young and upcoming producer named Patrick Cowley would turn up the heat once again, and the result would be 1982's Do You Wanna Funk?
In tutta Europa. Do you wanna funk? Sylvester!
A mystery disease known as the gay plague has become an epidemic unprecedented in the history of America.
Has triggered an epidemic of a rare form of cancer.
But it quickly developed a reputation.
And the deaths kept coming and coming.
The fear was palpable.
This new virus would claim Patrick Cowley at just age 32, and it was just the beginning. Embracing high energy and house, Sylvester became one of the pioneers of high energy, a genre that evolved from disco with a faster, electronic beat, popular in gay clubs at the time. He worked closely with Patrick Cowley, a key figure in high energy music until his death.
The show has been touring Europe since that disco win of yours. Opened for Joan Rivers at Studio One. And do you do your own wardrobe, Sylvester?
I used to. Not anymore.
It is busy. It looks like it could take a troupe of fishermen to help you put this all together.
Yeah.
The tune Sylvester's going to do now is one of the tunes from Dreamgirl.
Really cool. Such a better box. Like this watch. Such a better box.
The 80s would test his limits and put everything he stood on to the test. And it would be a crucial time for the GLBT community. Sylvester's life-term partner Rick Kramer would be diagnosed with HIV in 1985. And Sylvester would experience immense highs and lows that year, from being featured on Aretha Franklin's title track Who's Suing Who to signing with a major label. Sylvester signed with Warner Brothers Records and in 1986 released Mutual Attraction, his first major label deal. It afforded him 2 music videos to go with its release. On the production was Tip Wyrick, Jeannie Tracy and the Hawkins family, longtime collaborators of Sylvester. Warner Brothers then secured a spot on The Tonight Show with Sylvester in 1986.
Rick's parents are watching.
Well, surprise!
He realized that Rick's parents didn't know that Rick was gay.
Didn't know Rick Kramer's parents. Now, you should have looked in your closet 10 years ago. You wouldn't be shocked.
Sylvester had reached the peak of his success, or so he thought. But it would all come crashing down. And it was the beginning of the end.
An exotic new disease hitting the gay community. This was the first published news report of the disease that we now know as AIDS. The genesis of the story grew out of reports of a very rare form of cancer that began appearing in gay men.
Sylvester told his mother he had contracted the deadly disease and he was at peace. Still, it was the end. He wasn't ashamed and faced the world with courage.